3 days before the Bitcoin halving goes live, are the markets going to continue to retrace? We also have updates on the ETFs. Is the buying spree over? We're going to discuss that. A huge development in the ICP network. We're going to share what is that going to do for Bitcoin as an L2. Also, Toncoin news. Why does Toncoin keep going up? We might have an answer for you. And then the ASI merge has been approved. So Fetch AI, Ocean Protocol, and SingularityNet have been approved to merge into one ASI token. When does it go live? All the details, we have that for you. And we have Magic Internet Money joining us to go over some charts in TA. With that being said, let's jump right in.
Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and stale information, repackage that whole thing up in a fun, sexy way. If you've joined us before and you're not new here, you probably recognize that we have a new background and studio's under construction, as a lot of you already know. So a little different vibes for the short term, but
I pray to God we're not at the pool. Might have gotten some
there it is. Yeah,
got sunburn yesterday, you know.
Yeah,
reverse sunburn. Very pale. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin halving here. So 3 days, 4 hours, 7 minutes, and 42, 41, 40 seconds. Rock, I'm gonna pull up my laptop. So anyways, it's not on your screen, but there's 3 days left. Now take a look at the Google searches. They're having searches on Google are going absolutely parabolic. It's the Google trends here. So people want to know what the halving is. You got the likes of the TradFi people, Larry Fink and the sorts, going on CNBC, MSNBC, all the news channels talking about the halving. You have, of course, people that are native to the crypto space like us, been talking about the halving for a few months now, and so people are interested in knowing what the hell's going on. People are also, not people, institutions. We saw almost $1 billion in outflows last week, the largest for quite a while. This only goes back to, I believe it's September of last year. No, it's a year. So April of last year, right? So the biggest outflow week we've seen in over a year, after 3 consecutive record-breaking weeks. So people are saying, hey, is the ETF done? Are people done? Then we have this. Crypto.com CEO Chris Marsazlik says Bitcoin selling could pick up before the halving. And his reason for that is it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event. In the short term, said it could lead to price volatility, but overall, the halving would be very positive in the long term. We thought that, we'd see closer to 90 to 100K going into the halving. That obviously has not panned out like we thought it would, due to many factors. One being, hey, what's going on overseas? 2 being, we didn't expect the grayscale selling to be this long and this massive. What are your thoughts on prices going into the halving 4 days out? Do you agree with Chris here that we're going to see more downside?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think that we are at the tail end of the selling. The fair market value for Bitcoin is over 60,000 in my opinion, and the on-chain data says so, or the charts do as well. That as soon as we get near the $60,000 range, or right at $60,000, buyers just come in and are massively purchasing Bitcoin. So for me, I don't see it drawing down under 60K. I really don't. I think that there's just too much buying underneath there. You have the ETFs going live in Hong Kong for Bitcoin. The grayscale selling is slowing down. I know we do get so we've had some recent big days lately, but at some point, there's not going to be any more Bitcoin to sell from the grayscale ETF. So I do think that this subsided. If we dip under 60,000, I think it'll be short-lived, maybe a day or two, if that. So
All right. With that being said, let's bring on our buddy Magic Internet Money. He joins us every single Tuesday. Talk about the charts, and what a good day to bring him on. Magic, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. It's windy out here. We had tornadoes this morning. Loving it.
At least you're not in Dubai. Did you see what's going on in Dubai?
Yeah, no, my partner Max is in Dubai. We've been getting videos from him, all kinds of stuff. It is not good.
Dude,
They did
look at
not
this.
plan very well for this.
Rocco, you pull up on a laptop? Look at this. Look at this. This is at the freaking airport. This is at the airport. It's pretty insane what's going on
He's
there.
actually leaving
There's
for London soon,
massive holes in the streets from all the water.
Oh yeah, that's going to destroy so much infrastructure. Like you can't get that much water into concrete and things that expand and contract with both water and just temperature changes. It's going to be a problem.
Is that a cruise ship or a plane? Which one was that?
It's a seaplane. It lands on water.
But,
Seaplane. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If any of you guys do construction, go to Dubai. There's going to be work.
There's a lot of content creators and influencers. I don't like that word. That are in Dubai right now. So shout out to them and shout out to your buddy Max. Hopefully they get home safe. All right, Magic. We saw so Jerome Powell was speaking and he spoke and he said some things. What did he say? Rates need to stay higher for longer.
Shocking.
And the S&P 500 came down. We know that inflation has actually been going up over the last few months. They keep trying to feed us BS jobs numbers, or at least don't tell us the full picture. Hey, full-time jobs are actually on the decline. There's part-time jobs that people are picking up extra ones because, well, everything's so damn expensive. Those are the ones being created, right? Moonlighting jobs. So I think the economy numbers are trying to feed us is completely fudge. I think inflation definitely is higher than the 3.8% or whatever that CPI headline number is. And everyone is expecting 3 rate cuts this year after what Jerome Powell said after the FOMC meeting. But now, I don't know. I said a few weeks ago, I think we'd actually get a rate hike. What are your thoughts? And then how has that affected the markets, Magic? And we can jump right into a Bitcoin or S&P chart if you'd like to after.
Sure. My thoughts on it is I've kind of always planned for the second half of 2024 for a rate cut. I think for me last year, I'd said summer would probably be earliest. They've kind of been prepping us for this. He's been saying higher for longer for quite some time, and that rates could remain this way if the market reacts favorably. And typically, they don't start cutting rates until they break something. I think we say that it's kind of cliche at this point when we cover it, but people do forget, and it takes a long time for these things to happen. So, as you're seeing jobs numbers not be as good and inflation's going up, things like that, we're getting to that point where they're going to be forced to do something because they are reactionary. They are going off data. And so till the data really forces their hand, higher for longer is probably the play. That could be at the end of the summer, could be, Q4. So the markets didn't react too favorably, obviously. There was a bit of a sell-off. But, at the same time, seasonality is a real thing. And I think every May we come into this region and it's a very similar type of event. So if you're an active investor or trader, the timing of this really isn't, you almost don't need to listen to Jerome at all. You're like, okay, sell in May, walk away. I know that's very cliche to say that stuff, but seasonality in stock markets and markets like that have been very real. So, you had to know you were coming into this time zone and just go, all right, well, maybe a little risk off. We've had a pretty good run. Obviously, they're not saying good things in terms of what they're going to be doing with rates in the future, and some of the data is coming out bearish. So there could be a pullback. Maybe I'm just a little more risk adverse here, and I'm looking for an opportunity for a buy the dip, I guess. In that case, the question is how far down can it go? I'm not trading the S&P 500 on this. There are a couple things I'm trading stock wise. If you guys are interested in that. Was looking a little bit at Tesla for long-term positions lower. And then also there's a pretty good pattern set up on Amazon that one of the members in the Discord had posted a while back and that I'd set alerts for. And I was pretty interested in. Same with Coin, which is obviously the stock related to Bitcoin the most because it's Coinbase. But this is Bitcoin. Very, very simple chart for me. We've been talking about this as a range. And realistically, again, always starting on the high time frames. So when we look at this, we talked about a change of behavior a while back. We said that until we close below 64,540 on a weekly closing basis to the downside, You don't really have a change of behavior here on weekly closures because you can see right here that you have, I'm just going to use one bubble here. You made the low, you've swung failed that low 3 times, and you're down here again. So ideally, if this range is going to continue, maybe we get that buy pressure back up by the end of the week. We'll see. In terms of upside, though, you did do something a little unique. I like utilizing the 2-week time frame and also the monthly time frame, as you're aware. You do have a nice SFP here of the high. Really, last week was the weekly open. Now this is the previous week open going into this week, was pretty key here around 69,365. Had to be back above that level for there to be any kind of an attempt higher here, but you're not really getting that. So straight away, if we were looking at this from the weekly and the monthly chart now going forward, where's our support? How can I identify that? Very simply put, you've got a pivot here and a pivot here and a pivot here. So you can really pick any of these lows. Going out to the monthly chart, you could even pick, the monthly open and ideally what we've been talking about, where we said the previous month low and previous month open has been, the support we want to hold on to. And it probably encapsulates things pretty good without trying to get too exact on it. So you're still looking at this and saying, can this be support and for how much longer? You do have a quarterly pivot here. For any of you guys that aren't familiar with what this quarterly pivot is, it did start right here on April 1st. It is the average of price from January, February, and March summarized into a horizontal level. These do hit at a 73% hit rate now after this month. So this was a statistical mean reversion target because you did miss last quarters by just a little bit. I give these 0.5% leeway in terms of if I count them as tapped or not. This was 1.7, so it did not count. But in this case here, you would have expected to hit that just based on averages. So this is your range low support. And ideally, you want to see this holding. If it does not hold, so that number is 61,284, and you start closing beneath it, you also have a change of behavior here on the weekly time frame we just discussed, right? Not looking all that bullish. And I think that you can almost go back to then saying, where was my ETF high? So this was the initial tap of that gold pocket when the ETF was approved. You got your rejection, came down, kind of front run the major average here in terms of horizontal support as far as, just average of price, but pretty close. And you got a really good reaction, and this thing just blew all the way to all-time highs. So I think looking back to something like this would actually be a very simple way of viewing the market and saying, okay, 49.50K would be on the table below these lows. And I don't think that the rally is over by any means just because you come back to this level. It would just be kind of a back test into this range. There's several things that line up there, and you would even have a pretty strong reversal pattern. So I'll share this with you. We started talking about this a little over a week ago. So this is kind of a harmonic thing. So if anybody does follow Scott Carney and the system that he created, he does have 3 books out there and a website that provides free information on this type of trading. It relies solely on Fibonacci convergence, right? So it's harmonictrader.com for anybody that's wondering. But it would be something like this. And it's referred to as a deep crab, is just what they call it. But what you're looking for, and the reason they call it that, is you're looking for that deep retrace here for the B leg, showing you that this is where range support is setting up alongside the initial range low. So you haven't taken any major lows yet. You've really just said that this is going to be the area that needs to hold, and you can see why, right? So below that B leg, and if we turn back on our quarterly pivot, we can now start actually looking for real downside. But until that happens, these targets down here are not actually actionable. So you're at support. Personally, I did take some longs off the support. The risk to reward is very good. One of those things where, we got to sell off on the weekend as well. That was kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to take that long. I was like, man, weekend sell-offs generally, and same with pumps sometimes, aren't all that great. You're going to fade that back up. So you need to figure out on the lower term time frame, where does this really become actionable in terms of what I can be doing as a trader? And I think you've got to be living back above 64,540. And if you do that, you can now start targeting things like your weekly open. So I think that this would probably be the zone if I was an intraday trader, or I was just really adamant about keeping track of what's going on, which if you're an investor, I don't recommend doing, because you might make decisions you will regret later, short-term decisions, let's put it that way, instead of long-term decisions. But if I was just following along in this range, 64,540 up to 65,704, that it's a bigger zone than I'd like to give. It's 2%. It's $1,200. That's actually only 2%, believe it or not. If you get back above this, you can realistically probably count this as a range still and trade it all the way back up, maybe even as high as 70,500 again. If you wanted to do something even more simple without all that, pattern trading and ideas of, changes of behavior and price with horizontal lines, you could literally just throw a volume range on here, guys, and just say, we're at the range low. We're trying to recover it. What happens if we reclaim that zone I just spoke to you about? You are back inside the range. Okay. If you're living above this box and you're challenging to potentially rotate it, that rotation would come in right here at the top side around 70,500 again. So you do want to see this kind of get some steam. You could more than likely use intraday highs like today's local high if it gets set in here at 63,915. You could even start bumping these down and saying, yeah, if we recover 64K, I might be a little more aggressive and trying because we're getting back into that value area, however you want to look at it. So for me, just kind of patiently trading this. I would love to get an opportunity down here. This is a good reversal pattern. These are traditionally very strong if they do occur. And time-wise, what I've worked out on it does come in basically here. And so what I mean by time, and I kind of explained this in the group, I've been doing timing for a long period of time. Sorry to overuse the word. But the reason you want to do this is you want to see symmetry inside of a pattern, but you also want to see expansion rates. And so the impulse of this range when it started was here. So you want to take this impulse and then start expanding on that. Same with this one for the next leg and seeing if you can't get some kind of a convergence in this region of the chart. And that actually puts a move like that, if it were to occur, probably into next week, but not too far into next week. So it could occur as early as the beginning of next week if you were going to see a sell-off like this. However, this idea, again, only valid below here. So you're not really looking to do anything with this until you break this range low. So I would just trade the range, Personally, I know how you guys feel about Bitcoin long-term. If price sold off back to 50K, I'm really not that upset about it. It doesn't make for fun headlines for investors. People are going to get scared. But to me, everybody's been begging for cheaper Bitcoin and this and that. They haven't had an opportunity. And we both know when they get that opportunity, if it's that aggressive, especially, they're probably going to freak out. Bull runs over, blah, 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 blah. You guys know the spiel. And maybe it is, we don't know. But as someone that's a long-term believer in Bitcoin, I'm going to be happy to potentially trade that move.
That would be the lamest bull run ever. That would be
Wouldn't
the
it?
lamest.
It'd be like the triple top. Yeah.
Like what kind of bull run would that be? That would be stupid.
It would be a left translated bull cycle. If you recall, our timing for this was, we had some interesting timing coming in between now and May, and I'll show you what that looks like on a weekly chart, not to get too far off in the weeds. I know we spend a lot of time on this sometimes, but I do think it's important for people to do simple things like this so they understand how cycles kind of move. In simplest terms, this was your low right here at, what is this, 31.14.15 on Bybit. You had to your high, and then you're just projecting this over to the new low. So then in theory, your 1-to-1 comes all the way out here in 2025. There is a point in time you should identify before that, and it's the 50% mark. You always want to know kind of when you're about halfway. So you're at the 50% mark here, start of May. Now you had a pretty big reversal pattern. You guys know I do a little bit further than this. This was our macro reversal pattern. So I like to time these as well because I just think that it's important to do. And you can see that the 0.5 comes in right here at pretty much the top. So I was looking at this zone as, if we're pulling back off that key 73K resistance that was left over from the 2017 high to low in 2018, there was a trend-based resistance that we had run into at 69 to 73K. And it was always kind of a big zone for me. So this still is resistance from just a Fibonacci standpoint. But, some consolidation doesn't hurt. And even if you dip down to here, looking at market structure, it's not the end of the world. This has been such an aggressive uptrend. And when you zoom out and look at this chart, like we'll go to log scale for a better viewpoint here. Nothing is broken at 50K. Like these are all higher lows. There's nothing wrong with this chart. And this isn't even a full view of Bitcoin's chart historically. You can see the higher lows are in place. The first low that you should get concerned about is right here. And that low comes in right around 38,500. So it's like this can pull back. We haven't really seen a healthy pullback in a while. When I say healthy, is it really that big of a deal to pull back that far? remind yourself of what percentage that might even be. And, we may not even see that still. We haven't even confirmed losing this range yet. And, that's a 50% pullback. That's literally Dow's theory, which, equates to that there will be 50% pullbacks in the market. It's not a Fibonacci number. It's Dow's theory. For anyone that's wondering, you can Google it. That'd be a very, very normal event. It's like, but people will panic. Yes, people will panic. People will.
You say a healthy pullback, Magic. I know you're talking from a price perspective. From a mental perspective, it's not healthy, bro.
Yeah,
it's not
a 382 retracement
mentally
from high
healthy
to
for
low
me to watch my
on the
portfolio go
log.
down 30 grand in 5 minutes. All jokes aside, though, this is just the ebbs and flow of the markets. If you've been in crypto and Bitcoin a while, volatility is something that volatility is what makes you a lot of money, but also in the short term, volatility is also what shrinks your positions or your portfolio in the short term. So you got to have a longer term outlook. And who knows what's going to happen with inflation? Who knows what's going to happen in the Middle East? Who knows what the Jerome Powell is going to do? Who knows how the election is going to play out? We don't know. But we do know is that every 10 minutes, Bitcoin produces one block. And in 4 days, that block reward gets cut in half. That's what we know.
This is true.
And that's what we bet on.
This is very true. You'd mentioned stock market, and I'm not trying to eat up too much. I just want to give this because it's more of a trade setup. So anybody that's interested in Amazon, this was one that was given. I got to remember who I'll shout him out because they like Babalu. Yeah, Babalu's been in the group for a while. I've been hanging with this dude, rocking with him for a minute. Yeah, it's his Discord name. So Babalu. He posted this and brought it to my attention as it was occurring. And I said, well, we're realistically waiting for the all-time high still. I know the pattern's technically complete at the 886. I would like to actually go the full 100% above X. And when you did, you took it by just a hair here at the all-time high. And now you're watching the previous week low. And I'm going to get rid of these fibs just for you guys here. So we're looking to see if this confirms a local high, basically. And if so, you now have a short position on something like Amazon. And this is a pretty large mover. And so I always tell people when you can start identifying things like Amazon or Google or, Facebook, whatever it may be, these really big large caps, when they start moving, like it's a good market indicator. These are large assets. So if this starts breaking below the previous week low, I'm looking back down into like kind of this zone first, which you can see you consolidated at. But also, again, going back to the well of averages, you've got the quarterly average here at 168. So that would be like the first take profit. And then after that, I'm looking for a 50% pullback, which we talked about earlier, because that's the technical target on this. A 50% pullback is, substantial for an asset like this. It'd be pretty much the 2021 low, close to it. It'd be like in this region. So when you get something on a stock market like this, it's pretty drastic. I wouldn't bank on a move like that because it's so large. So what I would do is I'd incrementally take profits, and as soon as price finally does reverse or shows, some kind of a strength in the market and some kind of a reversal of trend locally, you can get out of that position or let it stop you out, and then you're not at risk of like just shorting into an infinite bull market, considering that this chart looks like that as well. So that's just because they print dollars out of thin air, though, right? I mean, it's
they don't. They don't do that.
I mean, who knows where they get them? I don't know where they get them, but
I'm kidding. Of course they do.
We certainly like to print them and hand them out to other countries. So it is one of those things where, it's not a great position to generally be short long term in risk on assets or anything that's measured against the dollar, because the dollar has traditionally been devalued pretty heavily. So, but the setup is short. So setups for trades were short. Just know where you're going to be getting in and out. Make sure you get paid. Manage your risk a little bit and you're good. Coinbase is probably the most relevant one to you guys just because it's coin. So we actually did a chart build on this one not that long ago. And this is a lot of lines on here. So I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff here in just a second. But you're back at the 2021 low, and you can see that this was identified here. It's like, obviously, I spent a couple hours on this with them to go over why we're identifying each level. And we'd identified this one right here and said, this is a really key, important level to hold on to. For Coinbase after the IPO, you can see this is where you settled up, and that it was the yearly low for all of 2021 before back testing and selling off. Now you've come back to it, and you're holding it as support as of right now. I'm not really expecting it to be support forever, though. I would start looking down towards more like this local gold pocket at the yearly open and the prior year's high. If I was looking for interesting positions, right? And then I'm just playing it level to level. But losing the 2021 low actually isn't that great. the idea of getting to this box really was contingent on getting through this resistance zone. That, again, if you guys are curious on where it came from, one, it's a 3-month level, but again, high time frame averages a price. This is the average of price from the first 6 months or the last 6 months of 2021 that's projected into 2022. This is the average of price for all of 2021 projected into 2022. And so you can see it creates these horizontal levels rather than dynamic averages, which I prefer to operate off of personally. So it just gave us a nice zone here that, unless we're claiming this area, you can't really look for this. But if you do, you have to look for this box, basically. There's nothing between you and an all-time high. Very similar to when Bitcoin reclaimed like 50K. There was just nothing there between you and all-time highs at that point.
Magic.
So
for me, my case of Coinbase isn't TA driven. It's more narrative driven. I take a look at they're the leading centralized exchange in the United States, and they're kind of making up some ground globally. I believe by the end of this year, if the crypto markets continue to go up and money starts flowing in, continues to flow in, they'll be in the top. They'll be an S&P 500 company. They'll be in that basket of companies.
I think eventually they're heading there. It is an eventual target, but I think you're heading there eventually. So, again, short-term decisions versus long-term decisions is how I like to word it to people. And you're very long-term centric, which is really good for your audience. So when he says these things, guys, he's not like bull posting just the bull post because it gets engagement or anything. Like, these are things that you have to understand are going to take time as well. So it's a very good take. I agree with you. In fact, I would be looking at this chart not from a trading perspective, but when I get a solid reversal, I know that Bitcoin's likely in tow as well. I'm sure some people are doing that same thing with MicroStrategy. So, these are going to be companies that are going to start. You'll see a changing of the guard, I think, at the top of some of those S&P 500 companies. And Coinbase is trying to position themselves pretty heavily to be in there.
Yeah. They just have so many different ways of making so much damn money. I think it's inevitability as long as they continue their trajectory of growth. Magic, we appreciate you joining us, man. Thank you so much. Always dropping some great info. I have a feeling that Amazon setup you showed us, we're going to get a video clip tweeted on X and say, this is what we talked about on your show. So I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. Eventually you will. Yeah, no, I'll say if you guys aren't here on Tuesdays, you're missing out, man. We don't just talk about crypto if we don't,
Yeah, we have a good time. Guys, if you like Magic Internet Money, you want more, we did drop his Discord link in the chat. Also, go follow him on X at Magic Internet M1. So, Magic, thank you, brother. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Take care.
Later.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right. One of my favorite part of Magic coming on the show is Robin stays quiet. Just kidding. Robin, would you like to do what you do best?
If you are new here, say hello. We'd love to drop an hola back at you. We got Sir Ania, Nat Singer, James Hoban, Morgan Sailor, Sam M, and Sam L, Randall McMurphy. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
I want to know before I go on to talk about what we're going to talk about. I want to know, you in the chat, we've had 2 pretty decent sized dips. Where are you? What coins are you looking to buy? Or have you bought on these dips? Is it Cardano? Is it NEAR? Is it ICP? Let us know, and then we'll maybe pick out some crazy ones we believe. Like, what are you guys doing? All right, let's take a look here at the ETF flows. So things are starting to slow down. You have the Bitcoin ETF flow table from Farside. A bunch of goose eggs. BlackRock brought in $73.4 million. Grayscale, another $100 million plus outflow day, 110 million, bringing our net to negative 36.7 million. Now, people have seen 2 straight days of zero from everyone outside of BlackRock, and everyone's freaking out. Well, thankfully, we have a friend. His name is James Safer. He did tweet this. He said, too many questions about Bitcoin ETFs and zero flows. A few quick thoughts. Okay. So this is very important for you guys to understand. Before you start freaking out, or before you read a headline from an account you follow who really just posts for engagement or try to grab your attention with a headline. I know we all do, but some are just over exaggerating things. And honestly, it's misinformation. On any given day, the vast majority of ETFs will have a flow number of 0. This is very normal. there are 3,500 ETFs in the US, and yesterday, 2,900 of them had a flow of exactly 0. Okay? So that what is the math on that? Someone help me do the math. What was that? 85% of all the ETFs had a net flow of 0 yesterday. So this is not something that is only happening on the Bitcoin one. Also, shares are created or destroyed in creation units. This only happens when there is a mismatch in supply and demand. And that mismatch has to be large enough to justify tapping the underlying market in a bigger mismatch than a creation unit. Creation units are the lots that the ETF shares are created and redeemed in. Every ETF can have a different size creation unit. In the case of the spot Bitcoin ETF, they are blocks of shares ranging from 5,000 to 50,000 shares. So a creation or redemption will only happen if there is a large enough mismatch in supply and demand, and the cost to make a market by doing that creation is lower than simply hedging and making markets the old-fashioned way. So big shout out, big thank you to James Seifert, dispelling a lot of the misinformation that people are spreading here. So, what are your thoughts on the, at least knowing that, hey, there's just not enough volume to even create these shares and to post, but what? There's enough volume for Grayscale to keep selling. Damn Grayscale. Okay, on a serious note here, let's get real with each other here. We both thought the selling was over. When the fuck is it going to be over? What is going on here?
Well, here's the thing. When the price of Bitcoin, because this is a spot market, when the price of Bitcoin drops, then what happens is you're also going to get sellers not only in exchanges. And why does the price of Bitcoin drop? Well, just a quick example. Price of Bitcoin drops because people are selling, right? If people are selling, it's not just strictly on the exchanges, it's also on the ETFs as well. So if you're looking at, hey, why is there so much Bitcoin being sold on the exchanges? Well, the price dropped. That's what happens when the price drops, you get selling. And so if we move from $70,000 Bitcoin down to $60,000 Bitcoin, the ETFs are also going to be printing outflows. It's just the movement of the market. And so is this just the natural selling order that we have? Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think price drops, the holders are selling, and the ETFs are in turn selling on the backside. What we saw originally with the ETF selling when they listed was that the ETF holders, particularly Grayscale, were trying to get the price of Bitcoin to the market price, right? Because there was a premium on the price of Bitcoin for so long. And so they were trying to get it to what's called NAV. And so they were in turn forced selling to balance the price of Bitcoin from where the Grayscale trust was on price, and basically balancing out the premium. And so that's over. But if all of a sudden, if Bitcoin's price goes from 60,000 to 50,000, the flows are going to be outflows on the ETFs. It's just the data there, right? It's the outflow data. That's all it is.
The interesting thing is they're mini Bitcoin ETF, right? So what they're looking to do is they're looking to take those outflows and then put them into the new product at a cheaper cost. I don't know, man. I just bring the cost down, bro. Also, to the question I asked, what are you guys buying? Trustalize said he's buying Solana, XRP, and Cardano. Okay. Kuzakan said he's buying VeChain. Did a video yesterday. VeChain was one of them. We believe that's got some pretty big upside potential. Ivan Hernandez said he's buying Ondo, Near, and Algo. Those are absolutely solid picks. Ondo, man, Ondo's going to melt faces. Solana, NOS, and Bitcoin from RustyBot. Never go wrong buying Bitcoin. And Akin said ICP, Bitcoin Cash, and ETH. Interesting. Love the ICP buy. Not sure about BCH unless you listen to Forrest. He's super bullish on BCH. And ETH, I think ETH is a good spot under 3K. Buying ETH, I think is great. So thank you to all of you that put that put your comments in there. We appreciate it. All right, let's talk about this. Was pretty interesting. But before I talk about something that's very interesting, I'd like to interest you in our channel sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Legacy Network. They are launching an app very soon that's going to allow you to better yourself with personal development, also be able to make money as well. Make sure to join their Telegram to get all the updates and be one of the first people to download the app once it goes live. I was able to get a sneak peek. It looks absolutely beautiful. Team is doing a great job. Got just a massive amount of developers that are working on it. So big shout out to Legacy for sponsoring today's show. This was interesting, Robin. Arkham released the top 5 richest people in crypto. Okay. Justin Sun, number 1, $1.1 billion in crypto. Rain Lummis has 800 million, but it's inaccessible. Vitalik is number 3 with 782 million. Stephen Thomas and James Fickle. Take a look at Justin Sun's portfolio. And what do you know? 200 million. So 20% of his net worth is in his own USDD stablecoin. Also, you have another 240 million is in Tron. Oh, and then guess what? BitTorrent, his other project, he's got another 130 million. So more than half of his net worth is in his own ecosystem. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Is that, hey, he believes in his project?
He believes in his project. But there's no way he could realize those
without destroying.
Yeah, he can't realize those what he holds, right? There's no way he could cash out was where I'm getting at. And so he could have long-term DCA out basically. And he could tank the price of his own token over time. And I'm not surprised, right?
He does have 900 million in Bitcoin. That's pretty good. And yeah, very interesting. All right,
200. So he's got $250 million in his own token now. It's very interesting.
I mean, if you combine the 3, right, BitTorrent, Tron, and his stablecoin, you're looking at over 500 million. Looking at about 600 million. So 630 million.
And the thing is the Tron market cap itself is less than 10 billion. It's $9 billion. And so he's got a lion's share.
He believes in his project. Okay.
You're right.
So, if people had that belief in their projects, then they would make a lot of money. Also, I did share the ASI merge has officially been approved. Is launching the world's largest decentralized network for accelerating AGI and ASI. Stay tuned for updates. If you're not familiar, we did do a video on this. So make sure to go check that out. It's our best performing video we've had ever. So over 40,000 views. It was a really good one. A lot of great info in there. Definitely recommend you guys go check it out. But May 2nd, I believe, is the date they gave. May 2nd or sometime in May for when the ASI token is going to go live. It is going to be at about a 7.5 billion fully diluted market cap with a token price anchored at merge time at $2.85.
7.5 billion will put it in the top 15 on the coin market cap list as far as the size of its market cap. So pretty big. I mean, it instantly catapults it up, right? I mean, where's Fetch.ai? Because Fetch.ai is the largest of the 3, right?
Yeah,
it's that number. So Fetch.ai is number 53 on the coin market cap list with a $1 billion market cap. Just imagine it jumping up quite significantly from there. I mean, from 1.7 billion to you said 7 is the expected?
The market cap?
Yeah.
7.5 billion.
So 7.5 billion. I mean,
here's what you were talking about right here. $2.01. It is down. I mean, it got up to over $3.
But you see the market cap at 1.7? Mathematically, if with the token, I mean, I know we discussed it when the news first broke. We were looking at the mathematics of it, and there's going to be a creation of a lot of value there. And I don't know if I want to call it printing or whatever it is, or airdropping, but I feel like some people
air printing.
Some people are going to make some money here, and I don't think it's going to be the individual holders. Maybe they get blessed, but I think the people behind the scenes, the founders, and the teams behind Fetch Ocean and Singularity Net are going to be the ones that come out on top with some gifted tokens.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I want to share a video with you guys. And if you're new to the space and you're new to Bitcoin, let's say you've only been in the space 2 years, and you people always ask, right? The people that are detractors of Bitcoin or just don't get it. They're like, well, what does it do? It does nothing. It just goes up, Peter Schiff. It just goes up because the next idiot is looking to buy it. Well, let me show you a reason why people have Bitcoin, why I personally have a lot of Bitcoin, and how it's helping and saving people's lives. So this is an individual going to his bank in Canada and asking to withdraw money. Listen to this exchange with a consumer and the bank teller.
I can't. Wait, I don't understand. What are you talking about?
So I will either give you a bank draft, or if you're gonna get cash, I will need an invoice for the car purchase.
Why? No, I'd like to. It's for the car's payments for in cash. I can't use a bank draft.
Are you buying from like a private?
Yeah, it's private.
person?
It's literally from my friend.
From your friend?
Yeah, but he wants it in cash.
Can he give you like anything that you're purchasing from him?
No, I don't. You don't need that, bro. What is it? I'm only asking for 3.
I
What?
know.
What is this? It's my money. I'm allowed to withdraw from my own bank account.
Yeah, so I can.
You said
I
that.
can
What's the
give you-
maximum limit you can give a withdrawal to a customer? It's $3,000 on the day. You've already mentioned that multiple times.
Yeah, not today.
Why not today?
Today I would need a bank draft, or I would get you an invoice.
But why you don't? You need proof of what it is. Why is that? And why is that? Why is that? Why do you need me to tell you what it is? Why do you need? What kind of proof is that? I bring in a note. Like what? How is that? What is that going to change? I don't understand.
So that would.
You need to give my
you're
money.
actually buying-
I'm not taking a bank draft. I would like cash, please.
Yeah, I won't be able to give you cash today.
Okay, wait. I'm just gonna sit here until you give me cash.
So the dude is trying to pull $3,000 Canadian dollars, so it's less than US terms, $3,000 from his bank. And they're asking for, why do you need it? We need an invoice. F you, it's my money. Well, it's supposed to be my money. But example A of why we need decentralized money on a decentralized ledger that's not controlled by a central entity. There you go. And that should be enough. When someone asks you, why do you have money in Bitcoin? It does nothing. Send them this video. I'll drop the link in the thing. What are your thoughts on this, Robin? Do you agree with me?
I mean, yeah, 100%. The thing is we're never going to get away from centralized entities. I think people just use it for convenience. And so for me, what is crypto and finance? How far integrated are they going to be in the future? Because you're always going to have an option of one or the other, right? You're always going to have someone that wants centralized control, right? Because with centralized control, you do get some guarantees, right? Hey, you mess up, whatever, we're going to give you some insurance, something happens. Now, whether or not those centralized entities can be trusted, that's a different story, but there's always going to be a market for it. And so for me, I'm just curious, how far does the pendulum swing? Because the transition is happening. The savings accounts and the investment accounts, they are leaving the traditional rails. They're leaving the former bank accounts, and they're going elsewhere. They're going to crypto projects. Now, perhaps they're in the form of an ETF, perhaps in the form of a Uniswap wallet, perhaps they're in an Aave protocol with lending. But the fact of the matter is that people are abandoning the traditional system and they are moving over to crypto. And I'm just curious, how far does that pendulum swing? Is it going to be 70, 80, 90% of the population globally operating on crypto? Maybe. I don't think it'll be quite as high as 90, but I think it'll be, I think at some point we're going to lean over 50%. I think 10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, man, remember when everyone was using bank accounts? It's the same thing with like a checking account, right? You look back now, when's the last time somebody wrote you a check? Think about it, right?
I saw a lady at the store write a check out.
Yeah, when's the last time you dialed somebody's phone number with a landline? When's the last time
Rocco still does, right, Rocco?
And so the thing is as technology moves forward, as adoption happens, when in hindsight, these things look obvious, right? and in hindsight, we're going to look back at videos like this and we're say like, wow, remember when we used to just keep our money in the banks and you had a handful of large companies that would just decide whether or not they give you money. And in the same way, we're like, hey, remember when we used to have to call somebody and hope that they picked up the phone on the other end because they didn't have a cell phone? Like that's where we're at. So I'm just curious, how far will the pendulum swing? How much crypto adoption will there be? Because this is disruptive technology and we are at the forefront. Also, did have a lot of new people today. And so just a quick shout out to you. We have Aiken, Crypto Anime, Ion, Ray, Trust the Lies, Chike, Rubberside, Flow Trace, David, FP, Creek Kong, Matt Austin, Caleb, Jinzo, Zahara, Rex Art 57, Lunky, Mike F, and Kyle Fields, and then Double A, Nwanu, Artem, also Greg Davis. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Rocco, would you like to respond to you using a landline?
If I wanted to respond, let's say I remember those days where you used to do just a middle finger, and now you just send an emoji. Just
Interesting. I see what you did there. All right. I do wanna share some ICP news with you guys. We got ICP news, ton coin news, but first, take a look at what the rest of the markets are doing, and maybe see what we're looking to pick up on the dips here. So as Magic went over Bitcoin, we're trading under $63,000. I want to put things into perspective, everyone. Okay, so I know when we see these big red days, right? Bitcoin's down almost 10% over the last week. I want you to realize something, right? It's easy to get caught up in the hour to hour, day to day, week to week. But if you zoom out, take a look at the last 6 months. As Magic showed you on the chart, right? Bitcoin's price has steadily been rising, right? You don't want an asset that just moonshots all the way up, because guess what? On the way down, it's going to be worse than what we're seeing now. Also, we've seen Grayscale dump over 300,000 Bitcoin. 300,000 Bitcoin they have sold. And Bitcoin's price is at $62,980. Everything going on with inflation, with the Federal Reserve not pivoting, Bitcoin is still at $62,998. All the global wars that are happening, things in Russia, in Israel, Bitcoin is at $63,010. You get the idea here, right? Start getting used to expanding your time horizons. If you have money in an asset like Bitcoin, if you have money in an asset like Cardano, you got to stop looking at a week or month. Start looking in terms of years, in terms of a decade. In a decade, you will make a lot of money with these cryptocurrency projects. Can you lose some money in the short term? Yes, if you sell, absolutely. But stop trying to chase a 50, 60x in a matter of a week. Does it happen? Of course. But that is not what the principle of why, at least for myself, I invest so heavily in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Cardano, Solana. It's not for the short-term gain. I do have some cryptos that I trade for short-term gain, but these top ones are not it. So get used to zooming out and understand that this thing serves a purpose. And if that video that I showed you earlier doesn't prove to you otherwise, then I don't know what to tell you. ETH, $3,072. BNB holding strong. It's the inflation hedge of the century here. $537. Solana, $134. Did see a market cap reach close to 80 billion, currently sitting at 59.8. XRP, Doge, Toncoin, and Cardano round out the top 10. Anything in the top 10 here that price-wise looks juicy to you?
Solana right now it's massive pullback. I mean, the biggest downturn out of the top 10 is with Solana. So something I've been looking at. I mean, it was over 200 and what was it? What was the local top for that? 210. So almost 50% discount from where it was a few weeks ago. And if you're a fan of Solana, this ecosystem is not slowing down. How the transaction finality, perhaps it has slowed down a little bit, but there is a Fire Dancer upgrade on the horizon, which should address the throughput and scalability issues or transactions. And so, I'm pretty bullish on Solana. I just don't see anything else replacing the market cap of Solana right now. That's just how I feel. Do you think anything's going to come up and pass Solana in the next 4 or 5 months as far as a layer one.
Are you talking about like market cap?
Yeah, market cap, and also just kind of the market adoption, right? The thing is everyone is using Solana, right? When it comes to layer ones, that's the reason. The reason that the price has rallied as hard as it has is that the meme coins are launching there. There's been a little bit uptick in NFTs there in the Solana ecosystem, but mainly the meme coins and DeFi has been what has been responsible for the big run up lately. And I just haven't seen that in the other layer ones. Like,
You know me, I'm super bullish on Solana. And like you mentioned with Fire Dancer, it's going to alleviate 99% of the problems that Solana has had. And I have a Solana chart here on the 5 minute, just a beautiful inverse head and shoulders, which these do typically break to the upside. And if you're a measured move person, right, you take the depth of the head, right, from the neckline down to the base, and then you measure that, which would bring us to a target of $143.39 on the very short term. Again, this is a 5 minute chart. So Solana, just bullish on Solana. All the metrics are pointing to users are continuing to being onboarded. Projects are continuing to launch. You have now the Bitcoin runes narrative. They're bridging over. The first chain they're bridging to is Solana. You take a look at one like Pups, right? Pups is a big one, big market cap. They're only bridged to Solana. And of course, there are Bitcoin ordinals and /runes protocol there. But Solana, I'm bullish on. Also, kind of answer my own question here. Hard to overlook Cardano at 45 cents. Very hard to overlook Cardano at 45 cents. Doge, 15 cents. Tether, $1. I mean, damn, that's a good buy. XRP under 50 cents. If you're looking for, I guess if you're looking for an entry in XRP, this might be a good place to start. 49 cents, under 50 cents. I know typically I'm more bearish than most, as Rocco's laughing, on XRP. But I have a bag of XRP. I just refuse to add to it. But if you're looking to add to it, under 50 cents is a great place to start. I'll show you. All right, let's talk about some big stuff happening in the altcoins. So ICP, their Schnor integration ushers in a new era of Bitcoin DeFi. So the Internet Computer Protocol plans to use advanced threshold cryptography to unlock decentralized finance capabilities and smart contract functionality on Bitcoin's base layer. These Schnor signatures are a specific type of digital signature named after mathematician Klaus Schnor. They work like a secret handshake between two parties, proving that one person has signed off on something without revealing their secret code, kind of like zero knowledge. The implementation will allow ICP smart contracts to sign these signatures to etch Bitcoin runes, inscribe ordinals in a decentralized manner, send, receive, and bridge BRC20 tokens directly on the Bitcoin base layer, sign Taproot and transactions, and re-inscribe ordinals. So everything you would do on the Bitcoin main layer, you can do via the ICP Bitcoin smart contract canister. This is from the ICP. So Aisling Connolly, who's a senior research scientist at ICP, said, quote, Schnor allows extra functionality like batching transactions. That's pretty massive. It also allows for new use cases that are developing on Bitcoin. You see people inscribing ordinals over the last year. It will help do this without any tweaks and from other chains. I mean, ICP just...
Do you think this is disruptive to, say, Stacks?
I was going to ask you the same exact question.
It's the first thing that
What is
popped
this?
up in my head,
Me too. What does this mean for L2 solutions like Stacks, who we've touted? Does this make you less bullish on Stacks? Because
No,
No?
not yet. Because the market adoption on the market for smart contracts leveraging the Bitcoin security is Stacks, right? That's where it's built. And so I know I'm a big fan of ICP. We love what they're doing. We're probably one of our favorite projects. They haven't taken that market share yet, right? This is still like, hey, this is something cool that ICP does on Bitcoin, but have people started using it? Are people over here working with ordinals and using the Bitcoin network through ICP with their smart contracts. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't think it's here yet.
I mean, you look at
as
their
far as the market using it. And so at the end of the day, you need market adoption. You know, you can sit here and make a fork of Bitcoin. You can say, hey, it's just as good as the original Bitcoin, but why doesn't the price move up? Why isn't it as popular as Bitcoin? Is that the people using it, or people have to adopt it and have to believe in it, right? And you know, if you want to take market away from stacks and say, hey, this is where we're going to build the smart contracts, the people are going to have to get behind it and start using it and start saying, hey, instead of using stacks, instead of using other, you know, the Lightning Network, instead of using this protocol, we want to use ICP, and we're using it. And that hasn't popped up yet. But hey, it's built out. Why not use it? Why not give it a try? I mean, if you are batching transactions, if you're using the Lightning Network, if you're using stacks, if you're interested in building smart contracts on Bitcoin Network, why not give ICP a try? Let's try it out, man. Right?
So I'd like to share some data with you, Robin. So first, I'd like to show you the from the ICP website here. Total canister state, it is trending up. So how many dApps are launching? Take a look at the CKB, right? The chain key Bitcoin, that is moving up. You take a look at the transactions they're doing, 6,000 per second. You look at the amount of mines they blocked, blocks they've mined, over 3 billion. You also take a look, I'm trying to look for the
But what I was saying is in reference to the Bitcoin being a substitute for Bitcoin's networks, you know, the Lightning Network, and also a substitute to stacks. And so I know that people are using ICP and is building, you know, we've talked about the AI narrative. And so you know, there's a lot going on there. I just haven't heard outside of our own personal narratives and what we've seen from Dominique. I haven't heard anyone else mention Bitcoin and ICP together yet.
which is a shame.
I think so, yeah.
Because I will sit here and I'll argue day after day, week after week, that the most practical and best solution to running things on top of Bitcoin is ICP. I'll leave it at that. Now let's talk about a different coin. This is Toncoin. This has absolutely rallied, flipping the likes of Cardano, zooming into the top 10. Why? Well, it is well anchored on the Telegram app. So the adoption of Toncoin through Telegram-based projects, including games, has helped the Toncoin network rise to the top 10 most valuable digital assets. According to Justin Hune, the director of investment at Ton Foundation, a Toncoin-based economy is beginning to take shape through the Telegram messaging application. Notably, Telegram has nearly 200 million daily active users. Already, Telegram allows its users to pay for premium services, including ads, through the Toncoin. Say, quote from Mr. Hune, Telegram has launched its ad platform, which only accepts Toncoin instead of fiat. There's the answer right there, right? Why Toncoin has just absolutely massively rallied. Choosing the principles of Web3 and paying 50% of the revenue they make from advertising back to the Telegram channel owners. I don't think they accepted it in terms of just because of principles of Web3. I think because 90% of the top 100 holders control, or top 100 holders control 90% of the supply.
Not a believer in Ton myself personally. Is there a market for it? Will it grow? Could it hang around like Tron, right? Could it be here for years and be like, hey, there's a token that's been centralized that has a smaller amount of whale wallets controlling the majority of the supply? I could see that. I can see that scenario. It seems like that's what we're going to get. But I do want to say, though, how many people are actually using it? Because it sounds like there is people that use the Telegram app that are using or taking advantage of the native token and sending it. This seems like something that we're going to be talking about again when it comes to the X platform. But instead of the X platform having a native token, it's going to be moving around Bitcoin, Dogecoin. And so you're not going to have the centralized influences, but you're going to have the rails that we are seeing here with Toncoin. Hey, man, you know, it's pretty simple. Let's move the native coin. Let me pay for ads. Let's pay for this, whatever it is. Makes sense. It would make sense to see this on X, but instead of Ton, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's Dogecoin. I think that's something that we'll see, right? I mean,
yeah, I think so. I think the first inclination was, hey, Elon's going to launch his own coin. We know he's not going to do that, right? So what's the next best solution? Dude loves Doge, probably Doge. Also, Doge, let's be honest, pretty good for payments. Very cheap, unlimited supply, 15 cents.
You know, you think that he'll have multiple,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He'll have Bitcoin. It'll probably be Bitcoin, Ethereum.
I don't know about ETH. Maybe. I don't know. We're just speculating here. But
I kind of just go off of what are the exchanges that offer crypto, because very seldomly is it strictly Bitcoin, right? Usually it's Bitcoin, ETH Classic,
Bitcoin Cash,
the Bitcoin
Litecoin.
Cash, Litecoin.
Litecoin might be a good one.
Litecoin, and then Dogecoin, right? That's typically what we see, and I wouldn't believe it would be far off of that, and I think that would be the launch list, I guess you could say, or the tokens that are available to use on X. I think it'll be those, right? And Doge will be there.
Doge
And I think that Doge will be highly incentivized to use, right? And maybe it's just Elon coming. Maybe it's just Elon sending Doge around on his own platform, because you know he'll bend. We'll put it this way: he'll bend if it's on his own platform, right? He'll do an interview with somebody he doesn't want to do because they requested the interview through X, right?
About Don Lemon?
Yeah. And so will he use Doge and send Doge simply because it's a payment option? Maybe he'll say, hey, you know what? I sent X amount of Doge internationally through my own platform. I could see him doing that. And so what would that mean for the price of Doge? We know how it is as soon as Elon hits the send button on a Doge tweet, right?
Yeah, that's just speculation. Imagine something actual utility.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty huge. All right. That'll do it for the show today. We hope you enjoy the content. We have a top 3 altcoin video coming out. Which ones are on good discounts and which ones should you keep on your radar? So make sure members will get that video first, and then shortly thereafter it'll go to the public. So it's our way of saying thank you to our channel members for supporting this channel. Also, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed and ping the notification bell as we put out multiple videos per day. And if you're not following us on X yet or Twitter, go to Sin City Crypto 1. That is where we're most active. And no, Jimmy, we're not on Las Vegas Boulevard. We're at the pool. Right, Rocco?
Hey,
We're at the pool.
there it is.
I think that's Jimmy in the back there. Anyways,
I can see Jimmy right
you
there.
can see Jimmy. He can see Jimmy. With that being said, pool guy in the back.
Let's go.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to come back tomorrow. Same place, same time. On behalf of all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we love you guys. Till tomorrow.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO